Conversation with the client and inputs on which contract is necessary. Most of the times we skip this contract and we start with the client saying, boss, I need an investment agreement, give it to me. Later you realize there is no stock options and they are promising stock options under the investment agreement. Then you realize there is some license missing. Then you realize there's some employment agreement missing. So the request for one agreement turns out into a request for 4 agreements or 5 agreements. So you cannot go by what the client says. You must have an initial conversation. That's step 1. Step 2 is you will need to gather the client's requirement as per. So this is the first one, okay, preliminary step. Then you'll have a detailed form. I'll show you something called an information requisition form, which we use. Okay, this we share with all our students. I'll also give you a look into that. And what you need to do is you need to be able to create a table of about at least 25 to 50 fields for some of the more for the longer contracts, so that you can have the client give you the information you need and also think about what could go wrong and what new protections they want. Okay, so your form will basically, you will not write the clauses of the contracts, but you will think of the commercial situation they are protecting the client for, and you'll write that if this person leaves your company without notice period, what will you do? So the client will think, okay, should I have something else here? Should I have him buy out his notice period? Like that. So people will think more, and the clients start to think that you're on your side. Okay, I'm using the word client, but it could be somebody you're interning with also. Even if you are interning in a firm and you are doing this for a senior, this will help. Okay, so gathering the requirements through a table, a detailed one, okay, that is going to be important. That's the second step. Conversations for factual clarifications you'll need to have. Then you will draft the contract and share it for review. Okay, so this is the step 1, step 2, step 3. When you are drafting it, you will have some doubts, you will talk to them or you will put comments. Then you will share it for review. This will take minimum 3 to 6 hours. If there are multiple contracts, this can be divided into 20 hours also. For a moderate, so 3 to 6 hours for a simple to a moderately difficult contract. Contracts you've done like 10 times and they are small, you would only take 3 to 6 hours. Okay. Then you'll receive the client's feedback and comments on email. Then after that, you'll talk to them on phone. Okay, that you will talk to them about what the requirement is. Step 3, see here again. Step 3 is your draft. You're having conversations for any clarification with the client when you're drafting. Okay, when you're new, you will have this problem that you will want to have clarity from time to time. So while drafting, you may seek some clarity. Okay. 4th step is you draft the contract completed, share it for review. 5th is you get the client's comments and then you will have to have a phone conversation if they say need to discuss, or you want to explain a complicated point to them. So you will discuss this with them. Okay. Then 6th would be other side is saying, I need these changes. Then there will be more iterations meaning more edits and revisions. Okay. Then you will share the final draft with the client. Then this is not over. Okay. After this, you will provide execution related support for what? Electronic signing, stamp duty related input, registration related input, apostillation if there is a foreign party there's executing abroad, or there's a foreign executed document which has to be brought to India, all of that. Okay. And always remember, there is one step in between the final draft and the execution related support. You know which one? Most of the times, the lawyer creates a format and says there will be content in the annexures or the schedules, and that content never comes and parties end up signing the document. Okay. And your main contract refers to lots of information, list of assets purchased. And then you realize asset purchase agreement is signed without the list of assets purchased, or there is a pledge of specific property and you'll realize the pledge agreement has been signed without actually finding the property. Sometimes in mortgage also it happens that you don't have the proper identification of the property mortgaged. Okay.